Hey guys, welcome back to my Java tutorial series. Today we're going to be finishing up our very lengthy discussion about methods. If we talk any more about methods in subsequent videos, they will probably only be directly applied to whatever topic we're discussing that day, because I think that what I will cover right now will kind of put an end to the types of methods that I think you will encounter most frequently. So without further ado, let's get going. The first method comparison that I want to take a look at is the difference between a mutator and accessor method. So a mutator method is what we're probably most familiar with. That would be like public, static. Let's go with int. I'll just call it function because I'm creative. And we want this to get a number. Let's just do two numbers, right? And we're going to create a variable, a class variable, that is named alright, I'll do sum again. And I'm going to have to make this static so that it can be applied with all this stuff. So I'm going to say that sum equals num plus num2. I know we've done addition before, and it's not that hard. However, I'm going to use an example. Sorry, I forgot to do that. I'm going to use an example with addition, and that's just for the mutator method. This is a mutator method, and let's just put it up here. This is a mutator method. Perfect. What it does is it takes some value, in this case sum, and it changes its value. Even though it starts with sum and ends with sum, if I were to start by saying sum equals 0, so we'll do system.out.println. Oh, is this having a perfect? All right. We'll print out sum, and then we run function, and I want to add, I don't know, 17 and 23, right? And then I want to print out sum again. Let's just get rid of these three because we don't need them. And then we'll run this. We'll see, alright, so we set sum to equal 0, and then we ran the function, or we ran our mutator method, and it changed sum's value to whatever we wanted it to be. In this case, 17 plus 23 is 40. So that's a mutator method. Conversely, there is such thing as an accessor method, which I conveniently already have down below. And accessor method. Perfect. And an accessor method is also self-explanatory. It just accesses a piece of data and returns that value instead of accessing the piece of data, changing or mutating it, and then spitting it back out. In this case, we're just having it return whatever string is. We don't care about changing the value of string. We just want to know what string is. So I can just give string a value, and in this case it's str. I'll just call it string actually, and I'll say string, wow, that's not correct, string, can I do that, I think? Yeah, awesome. Public static string string. I recommend never doing this. Do as I say, not as I do here, because having a variable name that is identical to the object or type name is just a great way to confuse people. It's done all the time. I just don't recommend it. Um, if you're gonna name a variable after its type, I recommend doing like an abbreviation. So str is a very common way of doing string without confusion. Um, I know for like image processing, you could have like public. I'll just do this very quickly. Buffered image, BF. That makes life easy. Um, yeah, just try and abbreviate things if you think it could confuse someone. So we'll set this equal to, I'll just say example. Let's do that. Whatever. Alright, so I want to return str. Now, if I say system out println str, so actually, yeah, alright. So it says, alright, this blue str is up here. That's what's going to be processed. In this case, it's just going to be returned, so we press run. Now, I didn't start things on a new line, which is what happens here. So if I wanted to do that, I believe it would be /n, like that. Or is it the other? Alright, I don't. Oh man, this has been a while since I've had to do new line stuff. I'm just gonna put this on pause quickly and I'll get back to you when I consult the internet. Okay, thanks to Google, I can now definitively tell you that in order to do a new line, it is this /n plus whatever string you're dealing with. Make sure the n is within quotes. We run that, new line, boom. Nice Java tidbit for you. So the next two methods that we're going to take a look at are called getters and setters. A getter method is an accessor method, while a setter is a mutator method. So these ones are also self-explanatory, and getters would have the format of like public, int, or whatever type you chose, get, and then I'll just call this one, I suppose, get integer. And an important thing to know about getters and setters is that they do not have a parameter or argument to deal with. They just do something. So in this case, for getting an integer, we'll return integer. And let's just say integer is I don't know, I'll call it bring this up here. We'll just say integer something. I don't know what it is. And then a setter, public, I guess I'll do double this time. Set number, and then this one we want to say that, let's create another. It's public, double, let's call it db. I'm working on abbreviations here, make it unique. I'll just say db equals, I don't know, let's go with 45.0, change, so on and so forth. And then return db. That's not a period, semicolon goes there. So yeah, we get some value and return it, and then we set some value and return that.
Alright, so the next two methods we're going to look at are static methods and instance methods, and unfortunately for us, they're not as self-explanatory as the previous four. So let's get right into it. I'll do static methods first. This is a static method. So to do an example of a static method, I'm going to first say that the result of that method is some double named root. And I'm going to say that is equal to the square root of 100. So this is a static method because It does not operate on an object. Math is a class, and that is the class that square root belongs to. And static methods do not operate on implicit parameters. So I wouldn't do like 100 dot square root, because Java numbers are not objects. They are just values, simply put. So static methods are then frequently used to return a value, and only that. All of the Java math functions are static methods. So if you ever need to do some sort of a mathematical operation and you don't believe that there's any object you're operating upon, a static method is probably the way to go. Now, the next one is an instance method. They're called that because they require an instance of the object to work correctly. As I had before, you wouldn't do 100 dot square root because that's not an actual object. But anything we've been doing before, for instance, pun intended, by the way, print line method. System is the object. That is the instance of your computer object, I suppose. And that's what's needed for print line. So print line is an instance method. All right, so that concludes today's video. Remember, like, subscribe if you found anything useful. Leave a comment below. If you are confused, I'll be happy to help you or point you in the right direction. So see you later, guys.